Good morning, fish keepers. I hope everybody's happy. It's Friday. Everyone should be excited for Friday. And we've done it. Uh-oh. Celebrate with coffee. It's good coffee. I've got a new coaster in here, and it's a little bit wiggly and wobbly. It seems to be sticking to my coffee cup. So we'll see how we go. First and foremost, we were meant to have Brian Miller from Seachem come on today and talk to us. Hence why I've got my Seachem Jolt Cup. Unfortunately, there is a massive hurricane going through his state, so he's had to postpone, which I think is a very, very valid reason not to come on and talk aquariums with a couple of people that like fish keeping. So that is cool. We'll postpone that, and he'll be with us again, hopefully in a month or so's time when everything's calmed down a little bit for him. So just a wee update on that. Good morning, Zen, and good morning, Cam, and thank you very much for hitting that like before we even started. Oh, got all the crew coming in here. Hi, Brian. Hi, Dan. And g'day, Kathy. And John.
Hey. How you doing?
Good. Rochelle, good morning. Yep, I agree. I think having a hurricane running through your state makes a very acceptable reason or excuse not to come on and talk fish.
Oh, absolutely. I think there's no denying. I hope he's in a bunker somewhere and keeping safe.
Yeah. So your thoughts going up to him. Equally, I think our next guest that's coming on, I think their state's being hit with a hurricane at the moment as well. So that's Sandy Moore from Seagrass Farms is meant to be with us in 2 weeks' time. I saw a post on that saying that there's hurricanes coming through, and they're putting in all their evacuations and their emergency processes and stuff like that for their facilities and stuff. So fingers crossed they're all okay and everything doesn't hit quite as hard as what it is. And business as usual for everybody in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Good morning, Taryn. How you doing? And I'm not sure which state it is. He did tell me, but I've sort of gone blank out of my head. So yeah. Okay, so we've got a little bit on our agenda for the day. Not as much as what we probably would have had because of obvious reasons. We tried to find a guest, but it was very short notice, so we weren't able to do so, unfortunately. So you're stuck with John and myself.
Could be worse.
So, could be worse. Could just be me, which is always worse. All right. So, new fish were released yesterday. Some of the standouts were the Bosmani rainbows. They're only about that big at the moment, but the males are already showing some nice color on them, which is kind of cool because normally rainbow fish take ages to color up and get some stunning color on them. Pygmy corridoras, because they are just cool and cute all of the time. Green fire tetras, again, just some of my favorite tetras. I think they're phenomenal fish. And what I think is probably the absolute standout is the Cobra Kai guppies, which aren't actually Cobra Kai guppies, but I keep calling them because I think it's a far more suitable name for them. I think they're red cat cobras. So if you are following us on TikTok, the video that I put out this morning has some good footage of the guppies. They are phenomenal. We've only got 9, and I do not expect them to last much longer than the weekend. So if you're looking for some very, very nice guppies, jump on them on the website. They're under imported guppies. So very, very nice. And there's a bit of a video of them on our TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, one of the most overrated fish.
Was it, sorry?
And one of the most overrated fish is a nice guppy. It's not until you stand and watch them and appreciate them that you know, it's often, it's just a guppy, but really when you take the time to look at a proper bred special guppy, they'll blow your mind.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's where the hate on guppies is, it's just a guppy, they breed like rats, blah, 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 which they do. But when you get yourself a really, really nice line of them, the colours on them, they are phenomenally pretty looking fish.
Yeah, in my opinion, they go par for par with a good betta fish. They're not much different in that. Obviously, they're smaller, but when you get a nice...
Yeah, I'm not a huge bit of fan.
Ones.
Yeah, they're not... yeah, the colours that you can get out of them are phenomenal for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah. Cool. So that's that. And because we're talking about new fish and everything like that, I can discuss the DOA policies that we've had changed over the week. We sent an email out and put a post on Facebook yesterday. So we've had a change in our DOA policy. Previously, we did 100% alive guarantee, which is pretty standard. There's no issues on that, which we're still doing. But we've also increased that to a 2-week guarantee. So if you buy any fish from us, whether it's in store or whether it's shipped to you, if anything goes wrong with them in the first couple of weeks, we will credit you the cost of those fish. There's a couple of things that need to be done. We just need to take a photo and need to get some information about your aquarium, stuff like that, particularly if you're not in Nelson. Obviously, if you come to the shop, we can have this conversation fairly easily, but if you're not, email some photos of your water tests and the fish and some information about the tank, and if everything's above board, then no dramas. We'll give you a credit for that fish. I feel this is a step in the right direction for the hobbyists as a whole and the hobby as a whole. I don't think it's fair on you, the consumer, that you've bought some fish and they die in such a short period of time. That you should wear that. And I'm very confident that the fish that we have, the fish that we stock, and the way that we treat them and care for them prior to selling them makes them that little bit healthier, that more stronger, that less stressed, and they should be absolutely fine. So that's where that's come from. So yeah,
100%. I mean, if a fish is packed properly and shipped out the way it should be shipped, there shouldn't be any fatalities. So if something goes wrong, it's only fair, because at the end of the day, the customers, a 2-week, when you put a fish into quarantine, if you buy a fish locally and you do it the right way and you acclimate it, it's going to take about a month before it's settled into that tank. And that's kind of out of the transition period and into your tank. So I think it's only fair that you do have a DOA policy in place, especially when you're buying online. It's good.
Yeah. So I've been a little bit skeptical of some of the big chain stores and their DOA policies in the past. Something dies within a month, replace it, sort of thing. I've been skeptical of that because I actually think that's a bit of a sales ploy. Fish being not that good a condition, not overly healthy, well aware they're going to lose some, gets people back into the shop to then on-sell them more product, on-sell them more fish, and all that sort of scenario. So I've always been really skeptical of that if it dies, we'll replace it type of scenario, which is why I've taken a while to implement it. But I think where we're coming from is more of a doing the right thing for the customer, adding to what we're doing for people, as opposed to trying to on-sell bits and pieces with a rolling stock, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So yeah, that's for that. Yeah. Cool. Rochelle has a question. With us heading into holiday and summer periods, some going away, what are helpful things we can do with our fish? So it totally depends on the time that you're going away. Just going away for a weekend, something like that, I wouldn't stress too much about anything. Going away for a couple of weeks, for example, I think a really good option is to find someone you trust, get one of those pill boxes, and put the amount of food that you want to be fed out each day into one of those pill boxes, and say, look, this is obviously Monday, feed out this on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc., etc. Depending on where you are, there is possibly services around the place that will do water changes and stuff like that for your aquarium. If I'm heading away, and I know that I'm heading away, I treat it similar to if I'm going to be sending some fish. I do a couple of big water changes prior to leaving. Clean out the filter about a week or so before going as well, and lightly feed them. So I know that biologically the filter is going to be keeping up with no dramas over that period of time that I'm away, and then possibly getting someone in to feed them. So
yeah, it's also one thing to note is don't do the big giant water change the night before you go. Obviously, you want to make sure the tank is settled and going smoothly before you leave. Because if you do a big water change the night before, you might unsettle things, and then the imbalance might take effect whilst you're away, and you've not got a chance to resolve it. So it's always good to do it that little bit in advance.
People always worry about the heat when it comes to summertime. Some ways to cool the aquarium would be adding frozen blocks of water via like plastic soda bottles. You can chuck them on top, that'll cool the water throughout the day. Just have 1 or 2 in rotation. You can take the lid off and you can use a small USB fan or something similar to add more surface agitation going in through into the top of the aquarium. That'll break it up and cool it down a bit. Additional air is always a good thing to have going on. As the water gets warmer, there is less saturated oxygen to be uptaken by your fish. So if you're a little bit worried that it's getting a bit warm, an additional air pump running through, adding more surface agitation at the top will be helpful as well. Or even your filter outlet breaking the surface will go a long way to helping against the temperatures. So there's a few things, and if you're really worried, you can buy things like chillers. But I think for the best part, we're okay for most of the fish we have here and most of the temperatures that we get. We don't really need a chiller, but yeah, frozen blocks of water or frozen ice cubes going in is helpful. And blowing some air across the top can also be helpful as well. Just quickly answer Taryn. Yes, the koi's are male only. Unfortunately, there was no females when I went to buy some. I just got males. I've got males and females. I've got males and females at the back that I'm looking to produce from. So hopefully 6 months time or something like that, we'll be able to offer males and females in the koi's. But for the time being, it's just the males. I'm sorry. And can plants live a week without lighting? Would a tank be fine for a week with no feeding, water changes, feeding box marketers? Yeah. So feeding box in general, I think, are very average. I'd say your tank is most likely going to be absolutely fine with no lighting. The plants will be fine with no lighting for a week. And no feeding and no water change will be fine as long as you sort of precaution on the way earlier. We're doing some water change and stuff prior to that. No light without a week can be solved really quickly by grabbing a light timer from Bunnings or Mitre 10. They're about $10. Getting it set up, and away you go. Personally, I believe plants like structure. The sun comes up at 7 o'clock every morning. It goes down at 7 o'clock every night. Plants know that that's when the light period's going on. So if we can replicate that in our own home aquarium with a light timer, plants go significantly better when it's on and off in the same amount of time every day, as opposed to on when you feel like, off when you feel like it, that type of scenario. So
no, I'm a big advocate for the timers when it comes to lights. They respond better when there's structure.
There's a huge difference in, like, if you're picking up algae issues or what have you, because you've got too much light, you can just turn them back a little bit, so you can fiddle around with it and really dial it in. So there'd be good options. As far as the feeding option, I agree. Feeding blocks are fairly average for the best part. I don't mind the Sera ones. They aren't that weird white calcium junk. They're actually made up of proper food, which I think is fairly good. So they're like a little black disc, similar to like a Pleco tab, for example, but they're made up of food. I think they've just been compressed a lot harder, so they last a bit longer in the water.
Fish Science do one
that I really like. We don't have them here at the moment. They might come in the next lot. Yeah. And the other option is making it Rapashi, because it is water soluble. You can put it into your tank before you go. If you're going away for a week, on the morning you go away, the fish will pick at it. The fish will pick at it. If they don't eat it, it just breaks down and gets put into the filter. No dramas. If they don't eat it from the second day, it just gets picked away at and then it just dissolves. So, I quite like that option if you're going away for a few days or a week, is using the Rapashi as well. So there's a few options there as well. You've got a bit of sunshine being thrown towards your microphone. Is that because it's color changing, Cam?
Yeah, I quite like it. It's
cool.
It's got its own arm as well, which I like.
Oh, it's got a boom as well.
Yeah.
Look at you go.
I know. And it wasn't expensive. One of the cheap things from Amazon.
Nice. That's a good time. Three Idiots Talk Aquariums podcast was out on the weekend. A little bit of a mouthful to get that one out this morning. So this one was a bit different to what we normally do. We basically challenged each other to talk about fish that we wouldn't normally talk about. So we pushed ourselves out of our comfort zone a little bit. For Cameron and myself, it was fairly easy, but for Ryan, it was a bit difficult because he's pretty much gun shot, arrow, straight, whatever word I'm trying to say, African cichlids. He tried to work around it and try and break that with African catfish or something along those lines, but Cam and myself pulled him back into line, so we made him work for his money on that podcast. So that was a bit of fun time. So yeah, it was interesting to have our brains sort of tick over in a slightly different direction, which was kind of fun. And there's also another one coming out this Sunday, which I just realized this morning I haven't uploaded, so I've got some work to do this morning, but that's okay. So if you're not following us, jump on Spotify and jump on YouTube because it is a good time. Cool. But you still managed to... Yeah, we did still manage to talk about the reef lake cichlids. Yeah, it's quite hard not to because they are quite a big body of fish that we have here in New Zealand. Like them or not, African cichlids is a pretty big group of fish. Kind of like the Amazon body of water. It's a big group of fish that we keep in our aquarium. So it is what it is. I think being super exclusive to them is a little bit silly, but each to their own, and so be it. Cool, right. So, I've already spoken about TikTok. If you're not following us, jump on over there. Doing daily updates and daily fun times. You'll get to see me getting covered in fish goop on a regular basis and doing dumb stuff like covering myself in water without realizing all that kind of hoo-zicky. So, yeah, it's a good time. Just a bit of a back room look at what it's like to do what we're doing. So, yeah. I'm still waiting for the TikTok thirst trap. I did a wee bit of dancing. I'm just going to bring this one up. I did a wee bit of dancing on one of my TikToks the other day when I celebrated the fact that yet again another one of my experiments was right and you guys were wrong. I'm still waiting for my "you're right, you're wrong" apology. If you'd like to email it to me, it's getfish@thefishroom.co.nz. Equally, if you'd like to send me some proper snail mail, 8 Kotua Place. Thank you very much. I appreciate the thank yous. And the I'm sorry, so you're right, I was wrong. Right. We're heading into spring with some of the fish starts more. Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised if things like goldfish are already beginning to get into that kind of mode. Might not be quite warm enough. The pressure in the air might not have changed for a lot of fish, but we're absolutely getting into that point of the year. There'll be a lot more things spawning. Yeah, goldfish for sure will be on that way soon. So yeah, it's coming up. There'll be more things spawning. And no, I'm not going to be doing any tubbing this season. I've got my tubs outside. So the way that the building is situated, like I'm sitting here, and like on this side is a window. There's a car park for like cars to park in, believe it or not. But after that car park, there is a main highway behind the building, and then there's the coast. There's the sea. So sort of around the edges of Nelson. So I thought about it, but I think it's too close to the highway and all the dirt and the dust and the junk that gets thrown off, and then all the sea spray and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, if obviously you guys can't see it, but on the back side of the building, it's always really filthy and dirty and grubby and grimy because of that. So I absolutely thought about it, but I don't know if it's the right option. Equally, I've done tubbing at the front of the shop, which I did a couple of years back in the old building. Because there's been so much roadworks and construction that's still going on out there as well. There's so much dust that's getting thrown on. I've decided not to do anything up the front as well. So maybe next year when it's all cleared up, we'll get some more going out. But at the moment,
So what will you grow in the tubs? What
What's
would
that,
you
sorry?
normally grow in the tubs?
Guppies and minnows have been a couple that I've done. I've also done rosy barbs out there and stuff like that. So
Cool.
The guppies that come out are absolutely phenomenal. Just getting tanned in the natural sunlight and eating
Yeah, I've heard
natural
that.
food. They're
I've heard that.
just incredible. So
Natural sunlight does something to them, doesn't it?
phenomenal. Yeah. Do you get enough? Does it get warm enough over there for you to do that kind of thing, or is it not quite?
No. I
Okay.
mean, we probably could get away with it, but the weather's unpredictable. So we get a week of nice weather where it would be perfect, and then we could get 3 weeks of rain, and then it would be like
Bugger.
fluctuate between 5 and 10 degrees on a weekly basis. So it's never ideal.
Yeah. Bugger.
I mean,
yeah.
you could heat the ponds, or the buckets, but it wouldn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. So, down here, it's pretty good for doing most things like that. I wouldn't play around with too many temperature sensitive stuff, things that can't handle the fluctuations of getting into the higher teens, lower 20s on a regular basis. But for the best part, most live bearers are pretty good. I haven't played with mollies or platies or swordtails. That might be something fun to do. But guppies are fine. Minnows are fine. A lot of barbs are fine. Cam's going to play with cherry barbs, so nice and easy. And the colours that come through are just outstandingly breathtaking. It's well worth that just for the colours that come through. Like they're another level of phenomenal. So
I know. My parents stay out in Spain, and a lot of their friends have bowls with guppies on it in their patios, just out there like that, no filter or anything, just bowls of water.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm talking big bowls. They're maybe 60 or 70 liters worth, but yeah.
When we spoke to Stan, what must be a year or so ago, he does a lot of his stuff outside as well, and
That's right, yeah.
Cool. So, would you need? We'll just go through these. Would you need a pump and a tub pond, or just fill it with water? I just fill them with water, and away we go. I'll often put duckweed, azolla, or Indian fern over top. If you're going to use any of those plants, be careful that. Just remember that Indian fern isn't overly cold tolerant or isn't overly frost tolerant, so it can die off a little bit. If your Indian fern is beginning to die off, it's probably too cold for your fish anyway. But duckweed and azolla goes well. Let them do all the heavy hitting. As it evaporates down a little bit, I tend to refill it with a bit of water, and away we go. And Kathy says, I do guppies outdoors most summers as soon as the nights are above 10 degrees a night for a week. Yeah, pretty much. It's normally end of March. If you push it a little bit too longer towards the end of March, you can get in trouble, but you're right from sort of November-ish, maybe a little bit earlier, all the way through to end of March. It's great for them outside for those 4 months or so. And what do you use for the tubs? So a few years back, I was in Bunnings, and they had these big, round, preformed tubs. I think they're about 250 litres. So I bought about half a dozen of them and had them in my backyard. A really funny story for that, which I'll continue with in a second. So that's what I use. I thought it's a really good water volume, and it's a really good surface size as well. So that worked really well. I haven't seen them at Bunnings for ages since then. I've also used half muscle buoys that I've had cut in half. They worked fairly well. I had a whole bunch of axolotls in there as well. Or you can get just any sort of a fish bin preformed tub or tote that works really well. As Cameron said, a little bit lower down, big barrels chopped in half, or wine barrels, that kind of stuff. There's a few options that you can use. As long as it holds water and it's a kind of okay water volume, it works. I know people have used buckets and stuff like that as well, but obviously, like aquariums, the bigger the water volume, the better it is. So, yeah. And so the funny story that I've got about my tub is I bought a whole bunch and I have in my backyard. I'm not much of a vegetable gardener, but we've got a raised veggie bed. So I line them all up on my veggie bed, and obviously the weeds grow up through it and all that kind of stuff. But I knew what was going on there was great. came out one morning and it was missing one. I was like, what on earth is going on here? And I could see that the weeds had been flattened and someone had pulled where that fence was. It was quite low. Someone had leaned over the side of my fence, poured the water out of it, and just tipped it out and just dragged it over the fence and stolen it. So,
my goodness.
A couple hundred litres of water. They obviously wanted it more than me. Turns out I found that it was my neighbour. So my house was here. There's 1, 2, 3 down the end of the driveway. So they'd obviously walked past and grabbed it. And they wanted it because they put ice in it to keep their beers cold. So I get the logic.
Yeah.
I wasn't really impressed that they stole my tub that I was growing plants.
Did you get a beer out of it though?
What's that, sorry?
Did you get a beer out of it?
No. I only found out through a little bit of detective work that it was them that took it. So was not overly impressed, but yeah, it is what it is. Yep. IBC tanks, oxygen weed in them. Yep. Yeah, I've got one of them out the back with some goldfish in it as well. Goldfish, pond lilies, mouse ears, and a little bit of oxygen weed. The oxygen weed doesn't do so well on there, but the water is pretty close to crystal clear for the best part of the entire time. And the pond lilies come up over summer, cover the top, shoot out absolutely beautiful flowers and stuff like that. So yeah, the IBCs work really well as well. Pennywort can go okay, at least through Nelson. Pennywort seems to go all right. So yeah. What was I doing in Bunnings? Well, I always go to Bunnings because Bunnings is directly between my house and the shop. I'd far rather go to Mitre 10 to support New Zealand, support your local, but logistically it just makes far more sense to go to Bunnings because it's right there and in between. I can order them in. Basically, I thought Nelson was even on Earth. I don't think it had any fish in. It was possibly just growing some plants. It was a long time ago now. It could well have had fish in, but by the time I came out the next day, they would have all been dead anyway. So, yeah. Cool. So that's that. The roadworks that we were talking about just before have almost finished. They've finished outside this end of the street. They're still going at the other end of the street. So, excuse me, my chair has been really squeaky this morning. So yeah, there is parking outside of the building on the weekends. It's far better than during the week because now all of the people that can't park outside of their work down the other end of the street are coming to park at this end of the street. So it's still pretty tight. I try and get here early in the morning and park my little go-kart to take up 2 parks, and then before the shop opens, I move it out the back. So I try to get a couple of parking spots out the front, but it doesn't always happen. But yeah, so on the weekend it's normally okay. So yeah, 10 till 3 on the weekend tomorrow, and 11 till 4:30 today. But we have got parking here, so please come on and visit and check out all the goodies and the new fish. New to something next week. I can't read my own writing, so we'll come back to that a little bit later because I can't read my writing. We've had Sarah order come in. At least I don't steal windshield wipers. Yep. Exactly. No one steals windshield wipers down here, mate. So we've had a new Sierra order come in, all the media, all the Sierra food that you love, freeze-dried, and all that kind of good stuff. I'm thinking about doing a review on Sierra Insect because I really, really like that food. It is one of my favorite foods. It's one that we feed out in the shop. So if you're interested in us doing a review on that, please feel free to say so in the comments. And we'll see how we go. You know, I really like it. I think it's a really good quality food. It's really fantastic. So if you are interested in that, just shout out and we'll work on that. If you want to do a video one, we can do that. If you want to do a written one, we can do that as well. Thomas has just joined us, so we'll just recap what's going on. So he's asked when the Sea King rep is coming on. So Unfortunately, Brian is not able to be with us today. The state that he lives in is getting a hurricane running through it at the moment, so he's had to postpone. So we'll speak to him on another date once all the chaos has sort of died down a little bit. So it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. You can't mess with nature. Nature does what nature wants to do when it wants to do it. So how dare it not know that we were going to have him on our live stream? How dare nature do that? So hopefully soon. Cool. Oh, that's what it was. Rochelle reminded me. My fishes go crazy with that one. Can you get it in a bigger container and the tropical pellets you sent as a sample fish? Enjoyed it. Cool. So, 400 grams, I think, is the biggest container. It's about yay big or what have you, which we have in stock at the moment. Oops, push that button there. And you reminded me by saying the tropical pellets. So we've got new tissue culture plants coming in next week. So the good people down at Aqua House have managed to secure ADA plants as well as Tropica plants.
Nice.
Which is fantastic. So we'll be doing my order for that today. They should be with us here probably Tuesday, Wednesday next week, which is really, really exciting. So for those of you that are looking for some fun varieties of various plants, crypts, Anubiuses and whatnot, we'll have some of them next week. So I'm really looking forward to that. Shut up. Stupid Cameron. I should need to stop reading these things and pay more attention to what I'm doing.
I know, they're too distracting.
It is very distracting. So, once they get locked and loaded, we'll be happy to go. ADA is world renowned for being, the cream of the crop. It's right up there like Tropica of high quality, well-researched sort of scenario. So I'm looking forward to having them in. Hopefully next week. Anubian Nana Ice, possibly. I haven't looked at my supply list yet. I just got sent it out the other night. Just haven't had a chance to have a wee look at it. But if it's available at Aqua House, then basically it'll be available with us unless they sell out between now and when I put my order in. So up the wires! Thank you, Jamie. And the last thing that I've actually got on my list is we still haven't named the Jag.
What were the contenders last week?
Hold on a second. The Pink Panther I'm pretty excited about as well, Helen. So I'm looking forward to that. And Thomas says he keeps seeing people with clown launches on African Cyprus. J or nay for me. It is a hard nay. I know people do it. Seems to work okay. I don't like it. I prefer to keep them separate. That's just me. I just think they do better, or they should be separated. That's just my own personal thought. I think they're just not. They live together and everything seemingly contently in home aquariums, but for me, I think they should be separated. That's my thing. Cool. So back to naming the Jag that Thomas sent me. Must have been a week ago. He's going pretty good. For those of you that haven't had Jag cichlids before, they're quite, I don't want to say sneaky, but they're really kind of sneaky. They like to hide and ambush and stuff, and I think they're a super cool fish. So he's begun doing that. You can just sort of see him being real subtle. There's a little bit of floating plants that he's kind of working his way through and that kind of stuff. He's in here. We haven't named him yet. I do really like this idea that Cam has just come up with, called the Jaguar. And Jaguar, or Up the Wires, I think that is actually leading contender. That's pretty good. Boris was another one that Rochelle came up with. I had another really good one the other day. I thought of it, but I didn't write it down, so I've forgotten about it. So, but I did have another option, but I totally forgot. But Jaguar, I think, might be a really good option there because
I like the sound of it. Jaguar.
Quite fittingly, bit of a double play there. So look at that. Cameron's good for something after all.
Yeah.
Oh. I wouldn't want to call him Manu Jamie because he'd always drop the ball, and that's not really what we're after here. I thought about Simon or Manring, but my young fella's already got a teddy bear that we made last time when we went to Auckland at the teddy bear factory that I just happened to name Simon Mannering and put a Warriors uniform on it already. So we've already got a Simon and a Mannering hanging around the house already, so that might confuse him a little bit.
Could we just call it Cam? Cam seems to be a popular name now.
It certainly is. Here's my Jaguar Ferrari. Yeah, Ferrari could be an option. So yeah, if you got any other options, any thoughts? I like plays on words. I like puns and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, Jaguar. Yeah, that might be up there at the moment. I feel so. Yeah. Anyway, that is the last of what I had on my admin list to do. So that is a good time. So, anything anybody wants to talk about? Yeah, that's not bad too. Fishy tour. Yeah, I like that. Might be a bit of a mouthful. Fishy tour. Let's write that down. Oh, so another question. FX6 is throwing up bubbles every 4 or 5 hours, but the other one doesn't. Is it when it's turning itself on and off and purging? Because they do that. Hold on, let's write that name down. Yeah, so they purge themselves once a day or something like that. Is it that you're picking it up doing that, or is it happening more often than that? Just random. Could be an airlock in there. Have you tried turning it off, pulling it all apart? Like draining the water out of it, clearing out the intake bit, the plastic bit, and all the pipes and things like that. There might be something just lodged in there. Might be drawing air from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So that are the first few things that I do. If you have watched the TikTok video I released today, follow us on TikTok. You'll see that the FX that I set up the other day, it wasn't working. So I pulled it apart, cleaned out the motor, and then voila, it was absolutely fine. So it could be just something a little bit like that. There was a little bit of junk stuck in the impeller area. So there's an option there. And I'll tell the same story that I told on that TikTok. Many years ago, I couldn't get an FX5 to work, and it was frustrating the heck out of me. Wasn't in the best headspace at the time, so I decided to swap it for a bottle of Jack Daniels. As far as I was concerned, it wasn't working. It was going to cost a lot of money for it to set up, and I like Jack Daniels, so I won. Good times. Yeah. The dude sent me a message like the next day saying there was just a zip tie that was stuck around the impeller, and it was absolutely fine. So I lost that one, that's for sure. So,
that's the way she goes, Cam. That's the way she goes.
Pretty much. So, always check your impeller for zip ties. Yeah. Someone did mention the Jungle Book last week.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
Bagheera.
Yeah, I'll write that down. Yeah, cool. To be seated with enough. So I think it fits. Yep, cool. It's on my list. We've got 4 on there now. And question about goldfish, lemon comets, popular. That's something I can't answer because I don't stock goldfish. I don't do anything with goldfish. I can tell you that about a month ago, I've got my jewelry at home that I'm setting up slowly, eventually. And I was looking at getting some lemon red caps, lemon caps, whatever they were, because I thought they looked phenomenal. So not sure if I can answer your question on that, but I can say that I'm a bit of a sucker for a bright yellow colored goldfish. I think they're quite phenomenal. So that might come down to individual personal preference and how bright and yellow they are compared to like the golden orange color. So yeah. And up here, how long would it take for a sponge filter put into an established tank to be seeded with enough bacteria to put in another tank? That's a great question.
Yeah,
it's a great question, and it's saying that we are going to test very soon with the tanks that I've got sitting out the back. Going to get some heaters because it was brought up to me to do heating. So yeah, where we're doing that, we'll have a fresh brand new sponge filter. We'll seed some glorious bacteria from other sponges. We'll seed some glorious bacteria from bottles. We'll seed some all sorts of glorious stuff, and we're going to work that out. So that is on the list of things for us to try and establish. It is on the list of stuff that we want to work out. So that is on. It's on the case. We're getting that sorted fairly soon. And what have we got up here? My intake for 1200 or 500, which is just the right size for Cool. Yep, that's achievable. If you've got any sort of DIY ability in your blood, that should be doable. I don't have that, so I don't try. Mine probably more white. Not sure if I should bother breeding this year. Aiming for Sarasa. What is a Sarasa?
Fancy goldfish.
Yeah, sounds it. I guess I'd roll with, if it's a little challenge or a little project that you want to work with, then go for gold. If you want to achieve a particular thing with a goldfish, get it done. Also, I totally understand that for what you're trying to achieve, that you'll probably need some sort of a financial return from that, in the sense of you produce these fish to sell them, as opposed to doing it for a little bit of fun, if that kind of makes sense. But it's always fun to have a little project on a project, if that makes sense. So
absolutely. Possibly with goldfish, I wonder if you get better colouring when you have goldfish in ponds outside compared to in a fish tank.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Goldfish. We don't stock goldfish for the simple reason they're not a fish that I've had a lot of experience with, a lot of time with, and for the same reason we don't sell saltwater fish. I feel that I wouldn't be able to do them justice and ask the right questions and help with the right treatments and all of that sort of requirements, which is why we don't stock goldfish or saltwater fish.
Fair enough.
I do have a pond of goldfish and a little IBC type thing that have been there for several years, but I don't really have enough physical first-hand knowledge on them to deal with them, if that makes sense. So it's just my own personal thoughts on them. So in saying that, I'm contemplating or considering removing angelfish from the fish that we sell. I've been pondering this for a little bit. I've been pondering this because I feel they're one of those fish that get neglected a little bit, put into too small tanks, end up causing issues with other fish, because at the end of the day they're cichlids and they'll get aggressive when they want to. They get a little bit bigger. So I'm on the fence about whether we continue to stock angelfish. From a business point of view, it's a really bad decision because we sell a lot of angelfish. From a personal standpoint and trying to improve what we're doing, it's a good idea. So we've actually, trying to buy good quality angels is pretty hard. Sold out of the last lot of our angels this week, so we've got an empty tank, which is why I think now is the time to really be considering that. So what are people's thoughts on stocking angelfish? Angelfish in general, all that sort of thing. So I'm just a little bit unsure on them at the moment. Of course, if we do remove the angelfish, we have a 150 litre tank that needs to be stocked. So it gives us another option of filling it up with something else as well. So that's where I am at the moment, pondering with angelfish. Thoughts on that, people? I'm on the fence. I'm not entirely sure what to do with them just yet. So what would your thoughts be, John?
I do agree that they get neglected quite a bit. You could have them through the back for the cool customers. Just lift the rope things. You could go down that route, but no, I think it's hard. It's hard to tell. You never know. It frees up a tank, put something new in it, and then you might not look back.
Mm.
Have them on special order only. I don't know. Because there are people out there that love them and can care for them just fine.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
I mean, not closing the door completely on them and just having them as we can get them if you order them in and do it that way, potentially.
Yeah. I might have a little bit of a hang up on them because years and years ago in my region, there was a dude that was almost exclusively only breeding angelfish in my area.
Right.
He had a room that was just solely dedicated to them. He was pumping out thousands of them each month. It was insane the amount that he was pumping out. Because of which, like, Nelson was absolutely flooded with them, and the amount of people that were having issues with them. Like, I very clearly remember, it's zero to do with me, but the amount of people that were always asking questions about what's going on, why is it so aggressive, and all that kind of stuff is just miseducation, I assume, on them.
Yeah.
And I'm absolutely sure that at some point in the time that they were named, they weren't meant to be called an angelfish because they're sure as shit not an angel. I think someone's misspelled angle, which makes more sense because they are on an angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An acute angle.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I hear that so often. They just ended up with absolute assholes and had to give them away, or they just, because they're a cichlid and people just think they're a community fish that can go with their guppies and their neons, and all of a sudden,
nope,
away they go. So, yeah,
it's okay in a species-only tank. You know, a beautifully planted species-only tank is one of the best displays you'll ever get. But you know, pop something else in there, and you've got Armageddon.
Yeah, and I actually think they kept into smaller tanks. Like I had a group in my 7-foot tank, and they were the most majestic fish. Not quite as majestic as Frontosa, but they were
angelic?
so nice. Yeah, that'll do. Angelic, ironically, but they just worked so well together. Like they look beautiful, and then I've seen them in 3-foot tanks, and they're just just not right. Yeah. So, or is this me? Is this me trying to gatekeep them? Is that the word that I'm trying to say? Or I'm not sure. So I'm internally...
Maybe you're bored of them on a personal level and it's giving you bad memories and you're just trying to find excuses to justify that you're not going to sell angels anymore.
Maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's just... Yeah, I don't know. So that's where
the angel guy's breeding again and he's bullying you.
He's not. I can assure you that he's not, but there is a breeder down here that's producing a few, not heaps, because but he is definitely producing some. They get aggressive towards other fish when they get mature. Display not for sale tanks. The fish store you've got in it. Display not for sale tanks. The fish store you got in that you didn't want to sell. Display not for sale tanks. The fish that you got.
So the fish inside your display tanks, are they the ones that you can't sell, or are they the ones you're just choosing to display?
No. The 2 display tanks that we've got in the shop have been carefully crafted and designed with those fish in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wanted to do a dwarf Tanganyikan tank, so that's why we went with the Lupula. Possibly regret doing those fish, but that was always going to be a dwarf tank. And then the Blackwater one was designed with Southeast Asia type fish in mind, dwarf chain loaches, cherry barbs, and the pearl gouramis. So everything was always sort of being building towards that. A community tank was the same, was all structured, working out what I wanted to keep with these fish and stuff like that. None of them... I know shop display tanks are often used to on-sell fish that you're selling. People see them and displaying, I want them, which was happening significantly with the platies, but none of the displays were designed for that. They were more designed for my own personal interest and my own what I wanted to keep and what I wanted to design and what I wanted to play around with and enjoy myself. In a sense, giving me a few aquariums to play around with. So yeah.
When are you going to get me over to set up one?
Tomorrow.
I physically couldn't make it tomorrow.
Oh, there's your offer. It's gone. I'm sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
We'll look at it again tomorrow. It would
actually take longer than 24 hours to get to you. Even if we got on a plane now, it would still take more than 24 hours to get there.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I think it's something like 27
Tiger
hours.
barb. I didn't know it's quite that long.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. Tiger barbs are another one that have that, and I've made the stance that we don't carry tiger barbs for that reason. It's not that I don't think they're a nice fish. Nice big group of tiger barbs look phenomenal. They are cool. I just think they get mistreated a little bit. Not wanting to play the blame game, but they look really pretty when they're small, and bigger chain stores will buy two of them, or buy two of them, and all of a sudden the tiger barbs are a bit more aggressive and rip everything to pieces. So
Yeah,
tiger barbs are absolutely in that group for me. That's another reason why we don't carry tiger barbs. So that's where I'm kind of on the fence when it comes to angelfish as well. I've got no issues with aggressive fish. It's just sometimes those aggressive fish or the nippy fish or whatever way you want to call them just don't get put in the right place the way they should be kept.
I think if you keep them in good numbers, they're okay. They're busy enough keeping each other in check that they tend not to go outside of their own species.
Absolutely. Tiger barbs keep them in a nice big group, and they are sweet, but they don't. They get kept in twos or threes, and then it just causes issues, and they get kept in 2 foot or 3 foot tanks. They need to be bigger and bigger numbers, and so that's kind of my stance. It's all about trying to make sure people are successful in what they're doing.
Yeah,
and I think
definitely.
Some of these fish some of those fish don't allow for that success to happen. Personally, that's just where I sit with it.
Mm-hmm.
I do like tangs. I'm not sure why you think I don't. I do like dwarf Tanganyikans and Frontosa, and it's probably my favorite lake. I just think there is more to the world than Malawi cichlids. Have I seen large schools of platies at school properly? Nope. I wish I did, though. That'd be really cool. I can only imagine how cool that would be. Massive platy fan. 30-50s. That would look absolutely incredible. Maybe I should put that on my... that's why I had the community tank that I set up before we cracked it. It was set up to be basically a platy tank because I think they're beautiful and they're colourful and they're spectacular little fish. What? Aggressive probably wouldn't exist. Didn't you just say you regret creeping? Okay, so I'll expand on that. I regret the lulupis as a display fish in my shop because they are pretty fiery to each other and they like to hide. So they're a beautiful fish. They've got a beautiful color to them, but as a display tank in a 3-foot tank, which I always knew was going to be pushing because we've had these conversations multiple times, they're not a very good display fish because you might only see one fish at a time sort of scenario. There would have been far better options like the Julidachromis, which I don't actually like that much, but they would have been a far better display fish option. Or Shelleys, for example, would have been a far better option. And I'm still contemplating removing the lulupis and putting Shelleys in because the way that display is set up, it's at the front, there's this nice big area that could be full of shells. It's all sandy, and I think it'll work quite well. So I am still on the fence about the lulupis. I really like them. They are my favorite dwarf Tanganyikan cichlid that we can get here. I think they're really, really cool. I really love them. I love the shape. I love the color. I love everything about them, but they're just not quite working as a display fish in the shop. So if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have zero information on the pikehead. It's not something I've seen on my list. It's not something I've really looked at. I think some came in 3 years ago, give or take. I know that they got put into... No, well, I don't think they're cichlids. I think they're the pikehead live bearers.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I think they got put into one of the breeders bought some. I don't know how they're going with it. We might be talking about a totally different fish here. So, yeah, we'll see how that works. But Before I forget, the Aquarium Awards are kicking off very soon as well. So
Yes, they
you
are.
may or may not have seen us advertising it on Facebook yesterday. So I'm very much looking forward to that. So basically, we're running through a whole list of things and trying to see what people really like and what people don't like, and find out your favorites. So we've got
How many categories?
Seven categories.
Yep.
Off the top of my
When
head,
does
we've got
voting
food.
start?
What's that, sorry?
When does voting start?
The 4th, I think. Now you're putting me on the
Yes,
spot.
Monday. Yep.
Yeah. Cool. So from the memory of the category, we've got fish food, hardware, most trusted brand, plant care, retailer, and there's 2 more that I can't remember. So it's going to be really, really simple. We'll we'll put a voting form up on Facebook. We're going to exclusively put this on Facebook, not into any other socials, because it makes sense for us to do that.
Yeah.
So all you got to do is click on the form, put your vote in, and we'll tally it all up after a few weeks' time, and we'll go from there. And everybody that enters is going into the draw for a $300 prize pack.
Yeah.
Currently,
we decided not to announce a specific prize because that could potentially sway people's votes if we went with one brand. So Cam kind of came up with the idea that it's just a prize pack. So it's like a voucher, isn't it? Or a bundle or something. So you just need to wait and see.
Yeah. So at the moment, I don't know what's going to go in the prize pack. I just know that it's going to be worth $300. So we'll see how we go from there. And as John said, we're not saying you can win XX filter or XX aquarium or whatever you want it to be because of that reason, just not to sway votes. So, and for the same reason that you can't vote for the fish room in your favorite retailer, because I didn't think that would be overly logical, overly good. So that's where we're at. So when that comes out, feel free to share it around and get as many votes going on. And as Cameron has got hashtag Vote Aquarium Project. I'm going to be unbiased in this, and I'm not going to promote any particular shop or store or anything like that, or any products. So have you say, get amongst it, get yourself a chance to win a $300 prize, which will be a fun time. It's about 3 minutes worth of work, so that is pretty good value for money if you do win. So yeah, that's what we're doing coming up on Monday. So it's a good time.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah. So, do you have anything else?
No, that was it. I just wanted to bring up the Aquarium Awards, which we've done.
Yep. Cool.
So I can go to bed now.
You can only vote once for a shell. So again, trying not to corrupt any voting system.
Yeah.
Only vote once.
When you click on the link, it'll take you to a registration screen, and obviously you pop your email in there. So it does, and it marked the way it's set up is it'll check for your IP as well. So it does limit you to one vote.
Yeah.
It's quite crafty that way.
But you can obviously share it around as many people as you want, and your Facebook pages, you want all that kind of stuff. So, Cam, for example, can share it onto his business page. Hey, get behind me scenario, blah blah blah, and all that kind of scenario. So, IP depends on what context we're talking about. Are we talking about, or do you just want me to say IP? Is that what you've just done? Have you just sent me down the stream?
That was priceless. I never even thought that. That's funny.
You have, haven't you? I didn't even click on that. I was thinking IP in-person signature on sports cards. I'm assuming that IP is internet provider code or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but well done, Cameron. You've got me good there. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that's kicking off on Monday. So looking forward to that. No doubt we'll do a little bit of hoopla and get that going as well on our Facebook page as well. So yeah. If you haven't yet, give us a like, give us a subscribe, join us on TikTok because that is a good time. If you have done all that, thank you very much and thank you for your support. So yeah.
Okay.
Cool. I think that might be it. So thank you very much, everybody who is joining us or joined us. Really appreciate it. Sorry we couldn't get Brian on today. We'll definitely be rescheduling that because I think he'll be fantastic to talk to and have a lot of information and knowledge to share. So that's a good time. A couple of weeks' time, we've got Sandy coming up from Seacrest Farms, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, tropical fish breeders in the world. So that'll also be great fun. So if you've got any questions you want to know about that, please feel free to send us a private message on that, and I'll put my list of things to do. What day is Father's Day? Father's Day.
Oh, you guys having Father's Day this Sunday?
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, so I'm being notified now. It's a weird time of the year for me. It's my daughter's birthday today, and it's my father-in-law's birthday, I think, Tuesday, Wednesday, or something along those lines. So, like, Father's Day kind of just gets mixed into the wash, and it kind of gets forgotten about. So, yeah.
It always gets forgotten about.
Yeah. Although, I do like my new socks. All right. That'll be it. Thank you very much for everyone joined us. It was good. It was a good chat. It was a good time. We'll be here the same bat channel, same bat time. Maybe we should change it. Same fish channel, same fish time next week. So have a good one, team. Happy fish keeping.
Have a good weekend. Bye.
See you all.